All right. Thank you to those of us who are here. We really appreciate your time. It's awesome to see that you are interested in trying to figure out a little bit about your profile and what else you can do. We're very lucky to actually have with us today both Kiro and Michelle. They're both very well versed in the college counseling scene and are quite adept at creating profiles that actually really help people to get into the college that they want to. It's not always easy to create a portfolio or just a presence. And I think that these two in particular have that ability to really bring that together. So we're very blessed to have them with us today. So without further ado, I'd love to pass over to them, and they'll be taking you through this journey today. Thank you for joining us, Kiro, Michelle.
Hi everyone. Hi Ethan. Thank you, Ethan, for this lovely introduction. And yeah, so my name is Michelle, and I have Kiro with me here today. And I work as a college counselor at SN now, and I come from a background with both medicine and psychology. I had a dual degree in bachelor's, and then I pursued my master's in counseling psychology. And then I merged like two different careers of, and they're very closely related, but one related to counseling and therapy, and then the other is related to teaching and students interaction. And this is how I ended up in college counseling. Kiro, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, and thanks, Ethan, for the very energetic introduction. My name is Carlos Hanna, and I'm a performance coach with Ascend now. I have a minor in entrepreneurship, and I've been teaching students here at Ascend now how to launch their businesses and their startups. But not just that. Before that, I was an undergrad and both a graduate teaching assistant in my university, and I've worked with multiple students as well to help them pitch their startups and launch it. And after graduation, I worked in Dell Technologies, and I've experienced more the corporate. So I was trying to get like both ends of the pole to know how startups work and then know how corporate work as well. I'm really glad to be here and to be sharing our experiences with what we've experienced and the students we've worked with. Without further ado, I would like Michelle to start first with introducing the topic for today, and then we will dig into it deeper.
All right. So today's topic, as you know from the webinar's name, it's beyond grades, it's beyond academic grades. And obviously, since we start school until we finish, and even after we finish university, and even either like in graduate schools, grades are like take the most of our concern, and they rightfully do so. And this is because like many colleges have like grade entry requirement and so on. But now we're moving beyond grades. Are there any other important factors that do contribute to college admission and college acceptance other than grades? And the very short and direct and consensus answer is yes, absolutely. As you see here, these statistics come from the top 250 universities among the world, and like it's a research done to ask them like how do you weigh the applications that come to you, and test scores and grades only weigh for 35%. Maybe not only 35% is a big bulk, 65% is a bigger bulk. And this is distributed over extracurricular profile, and this is what we're talking about today. So activities, initiatives, projects that you led, projects that you created, organizations that like you demonstrated really leadership traits in, or other things, right? So sports, hobbies, like that you reached a top performance, like a top level in your hobby. It's not just like I do love to play music. It's like I've contributed in music in this way. So I have a music band. We did such and such performances, and like so on and so forth. The other 20%, other like from the 65%, 20% is for essays, and there are a lot of essays, and the essays and the extracurricular activities like do merge a lot, and this is part of the profile, right? So your profile is how like the aptitude scores, like the test scores, grades and coursework, and also how do you present yourself? How do you present yourself in writing? Do you have a story? Do you have a unique story to tell? How do you tie in all of your extracurriculars to your curricular grade work and to your perspective into college admission. Like how do playing sports and singing and leading this organization help me accept you in studying business? All of these things really tie in together. And the 15% is like recommendations, relationship, and interviews. So really, how do you present yourself in person? And this is why the word profile is really, really it's on point, right? So because it's like as if you draw yourself in front of the college admission committee. This is how you're presenting yourself, either in academic grades, either in essays, either in interviews, recommendations. Who are the people that recommend you, and so on and so forth. Can you go next, please, Kyo? Okay, so now let me ask a few very basic common questions, but let's for once try to answer them in a practical, realistic manner. So the first question is, why do extracurricular matters? So why do curriculars, like what do they show to the committee? Why do they matter? And the reason here is that two big reasons. The first one is that some activities do tell about you more than you think. If you've been playing sports for 10 years straight, if you're in the high school team, if you went to different tournaments around the world, if you won actual medals and so on, all of these things tell of, like, think of it this way. If you're in a committee and someone comes to you and tell you, I've been playing sports for 10 years, imagine the level of commitment and discipline, the teamwork skills, the management, the dedication that they have, and they could channel to something that they like and that they're loyal to. This is a really good indicator for me as a college committee, because now I know that, all right, if they're in a top managerial position, or if they're in a really demanding major, I know that they put the effort because they've been putting the effort for 10 consecutive years. So they do tell about you. Different things tell different things. If you're a musician and applying for an art major, that tells me of the taste that you have. Also telling of the practice, also telling of the dedication. If you're in a leadership position in a student club, you helped initiate a club, an organization for like in a student organization or something, that shows leadership traits more than 100 essays in which you write, I do acquire leadership skills. Even if you don't write that in the essays, but write it in the activity list that you submit to the college committee, it tells more. Like, the quote, like one picture speaks 1,000 words. Exactly the same thing with extracurriculars. A lot of students, all students that apply to colleges write brilliantly. Most of them write very well. Most of them do put the effort in crafting good essays. But what really sets them apart, and this is the second point, is the extracurriculars. They sometimes call it in the university soft factor. Because in the college committee, they want to build a diverse, well-rounded class. So they want some musicians in here, some athletes in here, some business management-oriented people. They want people that are really all like, do you remember the 35% of the grades? They want them, all of them really have to demonstrate like usually have to good academic grades. But then what sets them apart? How can I have a very diverse class that all of them will enrich each other? And this is the second main point. Why do they matter? Let's now move to another question, which is, what are some benefits of the extracurriculars other than college admissions? And I might be sounding a cliche, and I will not sound cliche for much, but it's just like, other than it highlights your unique traits, it sets you apart other students and so on, it does teach you the skills that you need to know. It does teach you the skills of management, dedication, discipline, because people are not born with these traits. And like a lot of research thinks of like relates some personality theory called the Big Five to employment and job market. And this is like almost all research pointed out that conscientiousness and openness to experience. Conscientiousness is how disciplined and how committed you are to what you're doing. And openness to experience is openness to experience. That you do have a range of new experience, that you're not afraid and crawling back from new experience and jumping out of the comfort zone. These two traits correlate the highest with job employment. Like employers are directly, even unconsciously looking for these traits. So other than the most extracurriculars, if you did find a really fun and enjoyable extracurricular, it will affect your personality significantly. You will have fun, you will know people, you'll develop a lot of social skills if you play a team sport or if you're involved in an organization, any social setting, really. You will explore yourself more. You will know if you're like a management person, if you're an artistic person, if you're someone who likes maths and STEM, then your hobbies might be different. Like it will give you this edge of really, really exploring yourself and interests. And the third thing is like you'll develop the skills that almost everyone in the job market is looking for. Almost everyone in the job market is looking for. Everyone is looking for leadership skills. Everyone is looking for time management skills. Everyone is looking for stress management skills. If you're juggling a sports and a hobby, a student activity, besides having good grades, that is telling without a single word that you really know how to manage your time. It's impossible for you to have good grades while doing like juggling all of these things if you don't have good time management skills. Okay, so can you move to the next slide, please, Kiro? All right, so this brings us to technicalities. So some technicalities, like how can we practically do this? So basically profiling is just like everything that you do other than the grade work. And we need, even including the grade work. So grade work is part of your profile, but this is only one part of it. Okay? Let's think of it as 35% of your profile. The other 100% is related to what projects did you do? And we call them at Ascend Now passion projects. And they're called this for a reason, because you pursue them because on the most part they relate or they are related to your passion, but also because they significantly enrich your profile. They significantly add depth to your profile. And passion projects range from a huge range of things. You can write articles, you can publish a research paper, you can write a book, you can create a visual project, you can have an entrepreneurship idea. And this is where the expert Kiro comes in. And you can really, really start things from scratch and go scale up insanely with them. And it just starts with the project. So it just starts with the passion, really. Can you move in next, Kiro? Yeah. So as I told you, like the students usually how like when like as a college committee, when I need to assess the students some skills like commitment, like leadership roles, like time management skills and so on, I directly go to their extracurricular activities. And this is why honestly they do matter more than grades, because your high school grades, of course, yes, I'm not going to be naive and tell you that they're not worth a lot. They do worth a lot and they are worth, but think of it this way. How many people score very high grades? A lot of people. A lot. The answer is a lot. It's not a few people. And this is why what sets them apart. Like how many students play sport for 10 consecutive years? How many students had their own entrepreneurship project at grade 10 or grade 9 or grade 11? Like they had an entrepreneurship idea, they did the market research, they tried to implement the idea, they monitored the progress, they, of course, like in different projects, they could scale it up. How many students published a research paper in a good journal? How many of them were able to publish a book? All of these things, they highlight qualities through the involvement of the activities. They do highlight these qualities. If you wrote a book, that tells me of your writing skills. That tells me of your networking skills, because it's not an easy thing to connect to the publishing house and let them publish your book. The sales of your book tells me how good you are at marketing your book. All of these things tie in together to, again, portray a full picture of you. Can you go next, Kiro? Yes, can you go next, please? So again, this is the same idea here, that it's beyond the grades. Grades don't capture the full spectrum of your abilities. It's not only grades that tells the college committee who you really are, right? So who you really are is presented in multiple ways. And let me also tell you that, like, usually colleges ask about extracurriculars in multiple ways. They do it in the interviews, obviously. They see it on the application. And things like people, for instance, applying to Europe, they have the resume, US more the common app. And in this, we have the activity list, right? So you do provide a very thorough description of each and every activity you did in order to like present it well. Like I told you, like in order to show commitment, for instance, you need to present the longest activity first. So the one that you've been doing the longest. You want to present an entrepreneurship idea, you want to present the most creative startup, you want to present the most creative project that you did. And let me just show you a bit, like, two very, like, we have so many of these examples, but always, like, you can always find that, like, students who join, like, who aim for Ivy League and join, like, aim for, like, top students, top universities, they always have a rich curricular. So for these students, for instance, can you can you go next here?
Yeah, sure.
So for this student, she demonstrated a leadership position. She demonstrated sports achievement. So that's in itself telling of the dedication, commitment, discipline. She went into for internship. That is telling of the networking capacity, the technical knowledge that she could get at this age. And she was a student leader in the Asian Women's Welfare Association. So all of these skills, I really, like, even before reading the essay, if I saw all of these activities, I already have a first impression. Everything in the essay complements that. Everything is in the interview complements that. But I do now have an impression of how this person looks like. I can even visualize them as being someone outgoing and sociable and is able to present themselves properly, have very good public speaking skills, and so on. Let me show you another profile. So the previous one was from Babson. The next one, the previous one from Stanford. The next one is from Babson. And again, no, can you go to the next one here? Next one. So he majored in business. And again, look at this extracurricular. So two founder position. So it makes sense, right? He's applying for business. He put their entrepreneurship projects. So entrepreneurship, leadership, and service. This is like the skills that he demonstrated here. And he founded two organizations, two clubs. So, and the third one is also the intern. Like, again, internship always are a good thing to add to your activity list, because again, they demonstrate a myriad of important skills to the college committee. I hope that wasn't a very boring monologue. I'm handing the floor to Kiro now. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. That was really inspiring and helpful. So just to summarize what we've been discussing so far, I would like to quote, as you know, I'm really a big fan of movies. And as I was preparing, I couldn't think of a movie to quote what profiling looks like as the movie A Beautiful Mind. So I won't spoil anything further in the movie. But one day, John Nash, who was a really brilliant mathematician and a professor, fell in love with Alicia. And then during one of their meetings, he told Alicia, does our relationship warrant long-term commitment? I need some kind of proof, some kind of verifiable empirical data. I mean, that is a real turn off if you're considering dating one day, because no one would fall in love with the significant other and then ask them that he needs a kind of proof or a verifiable empirical data. So by the same token, I need you to think of your relationship to profiling as this. It's not just empirical, verifiable data and grades. As Michelle said, you're beyond your grades. who is, and the real question that begs an answer is, who are you beyond your grades? Because everyone can score good grades. However, not every grade show who are you from the inside. And what shows who are you from the inside are your activities and extracurricular, your initiatives and your extracurricular activities. The thing is, I also need you to think holistically of the approach. So it's not just about your grades, as Michelle said, because they only account for a certain percentage. However, you need to express your story. So think of a really compelling and a beautiful narrative for you, that would really beg the college counselor to see you in person. So this is just, I mean, you don't apply to colleges every day. It's just you're living those periods once in a lifetime. So you really need to craft a unique story that compels the other towards your character. See, grades do have a limit, and the limit of the grades, because they are numbers, they cannot tell a story. Numbers do not tell a story, but what tells a story is your character. All right, so I'll dig into what are the passion projects. So if you're thinking one day about executing passion projects, let's dig into case studies with students whom we've helped before to launch their passion projects. So passion projects, by the very simplest definition, is initiatives or self-directed initiatives, and they are driven by your interest and curiosity. So think of your childhood dreams. I'm sure we've all had childhood dreams and projects that we wanted to execute before, and we've thought about that. Oh, they are just dreams. No, your dreams tell something about you, and you have to think of that deeply. So I would advise that you would have like a notebook, and every time before you go to sleep, you just type in all your ideas that you ever dreamt of. Perhaps one idea of yours might be the next unicorn business. You really never know that. So your childhood dreams do tell about your narrative and about your story. So remember your childhood dreams. The one time that you wanted to start a band, or the one time that you wanted to draw the next Mona Lisa, or the one time that you wanted to write a story that's compelling as Lord of the Rings per se. And we have actually students who dreamt about that. So we have Emma, and she won the bestseller in Amazon for writing a children book that's called The Kids of the Future. And we have Rajan, who is a music producer, and he developed around 8 tracks, self-produced. And Amia, who thought about, why don't I help the other people? And what he basically did is to he brought in many underprivileged and blind students, and he helped them stitch bags. And whenever they stitch those bags, he started selling them online. So think, I mean, those things, they are not numbers. I mean, those things, they do tell something about your characteristics and your personality. And that's why grades do have a limit. Grades do not tell a narrative, but your story is the narrative. So the passion projects, they can encompass various forms, from art, music, writing, coding, volunteering, as I've shown you the examples, and they can go beyond the academics. So in your passion project, you have to showcase your creativity, your problem solving, your passionate heart about helping other people, and your perseverance. All right, so if you're really interested now to have a passion project and to execute this and to tell your story, what are the steps that you would take? First of all, you need to work with an experienced tutor or a coach, because we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's always better if we do it together. So the first thing is to find a mentor or a tutor that would accompany you in this journey. And then after you accompany this mentor, you will be having brainstorming sessions in order to pursue your passion project. So with Ascend now, we have a multitude of routes that you can take to pursue your passion project. We have an e-service, we have an e-commerce, e-learning, and podcast. E-service is basically you're providing a service online that could be shared to as many people as possible. Think about, for example, your neighborhood. So to the best of your ability, you can spread the service to just your school or to your neighborhood. But what about spreading a service to the whole world, per se? That's only doable through the internet, and that's why it's called an e-service. And then e-commerce, which involves anything from buying and selling online. And then e-learning, think of that as a platform that you can create where you upload lectures, a YouTube channel, or lectures on Udemy or Coursera. And then a podcast. And a podcast is basically a podcast where you spread awareness to a certain problem and you express your thoughts. We won't have all the time to go through individual details through all the 4 routes. So I will just highlight the e-service route. So the e-service route consists of 3 things. So it's either you're providing a service as a volunteer or to a community, or you can provide a service that is that's advocating for renewable to sustainability and to getting the word to a renewable place. So I'm going to walk you through projects that our students did before. So in a community, we had one girl who did a project that's called Girls on Goal. And the purpose of this is to create an online community where she could source as many girls as possible and to help them play football and teach them football. And as an admission officer, what does this tell about the girl? It tells that she's a leader. It tells that she's passionate about football and she's a team player. Again, those 3 criteria, they couldn't be told by just scoring 40 plus in your IB. You know what I mean? And then volunteering is simply you take an action without receiving something in return. And we had a student before who created his e-service business that is called SG Volunteer. And the purpose of this was to create a platform where students from different sects, they could volunteer. So he was a platform that was providing services to the students, and simply students would log in and choose their businesses or choose the NGOs that they would like to volunteer on. So here, what does this business tell about the student? It tells that he's a proactive, he's thinking about the other people and helping other people. And then we have another criteria, that is the food sector, where we had a student before who was thinking about sourcing the edible food that is thrown out from restaurants and repackaging them and reselling them again. That is Makan Impact. So again, all of these examples, they do tell about your characteristics and your character more than your grades. I mean, ideas do not end. You can think of as many ideas as possible for an e-service, and it would significantly tell lots of things about you that grades couldn't tell. Again, I just want to highlight that academics remain important. So what we're trying to say here is not to fail your IB or your scores. No, but we're telling that your scores are significant. However, there are non-cognitive factors that you are also being graded upon, if you could say. So you're not just being graded or selected for your numbers, but there are other criterias that, if we could say, you're graded upon them. And those are your projects. And why is that again? Because projects, they demonstrate initiative, leadership skills, and curiosity towards learning. And you can think of that as in, what are you providing to the university? So many universities, as you're applying, they're thinking that what we can benefit from you into our culture. So what are you actually adding to our culture? Are you adding creativity? Are you adding curiosity? Because whatever you will do, it will ripple to that university. So let's say you've graduated from the university and you became a CEO for a very well-known business, then you're indirectly marketing for this university because it's the first thing that you will be saying. I'm a graduate of Boston, I'm a graduate of etc. I'm a graduate of Georgetown. So you're indirectly marketing for this university. So they are thinking not just about your grades, but they are thinking about who you could be in the future. So they are betting on your profile. As if you're in a game and you're betting that, let's say, Real Madrid will win the La Liga, and that's exactly the case. They are betting that whenever you graduate, you will be a very successful person one day, and you will be marketing for our university. So it's kind of an exchange benefit. It's not just, oh, you were very smart intellectually and you scored well, then welcome. No, it's not like that at all. Because many people, surprisingly, who are successful intellectually in scoring grades, they don't have they don't pursue a really good career. I mean, that's not always the case that if you're successful in academics, you will be successful in the job or career market. It's not the case at all, because your personality plays a huge role in that. And here's the proof that we've had students who didn't score a perfect 45 in their IB, and still they went to top-notch universities. Because again, we're not all similar. We're different, and we do have different talents. Some people, they might have a talent in scoring well in exams, and other people, they might be stressed in exams and they don't know actually how to score the perfect 45. However, they are talented in other stuff, and that's why colleges, they do a holistic approach whenever they are analyzing your profile. So we have Shiv. Shiv didn't score the perfect 45 that we're all dreaming of. He scored 37, and that is 8 points behind 45 he is targeting Ivy League, let's say. However, he got accepted into Boston. And we have also Shreya, who scores 37, and she got accepted into NYU. Tish. And the surprising fact that she had some friends who actually scored 40 plus. So technically, their grades were higher. However, they didn't end to NYU. And we have Tyla. And her grades were very, very far behind. She scored 30, and then she went into a really top-notch school in London, that is London Metropolitan. So again, the summary here is passion projects, they make you shine. So as grades provide a certain aspect of your character, passion projects, they provide the depth of your character. It provides the third dimension of your character. So think about a square. Square is a 2D. However, we need to see not just a square, we need to see a cube. There is something 3D. And think of that as in this sense. Passion projects, they provide the third dimension that is missing in your profile. They showcase your unique skills and experiences. And don't forget about your story, because they will be incorporated into your story that you will be sharing with everyone once you enter into your university and once you graduate as well. And again, if you think that it's too late, it's never too late. You can unleash your potential with Ascend Now today. So the question is here, if you're thinking, okay, what I'm gonna do now, first of all, keep your journal of all of your ideas, wonderful ideas that you were thinking about. Identify your interests and explore potential projects. And if you have time, please ask us for a demo session with any of our coaches, and for sure they will guide you and they will extract the projects that you always dreamt of. So identify your interests, seek guidance, and the most important thing is don't be afraid to experiment. I mean, don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. That's where all the magic happens. If you stayed inside your comfort zone, then you've actually haven't learned anything new. The thing is, you really know very little about what you don't know and what you're capable of. So this is a fact. You really know a very little about what you're capable of doing. So please step outside your comfort zone. And most importantly, this is just a one lifetime experience that you're applying to college. You don't apply to college every day, and you don't do projects every day. It's just one time experience, and then it will end. So please have fun and enjoy the process of this discovery. That was a wrap up for our webinar today. I hope you found those slides helpful, and we will be sharing them with you right after, along with our speaker notes and helpful notes. We're now open to all of your questions.
We do have quite many questions.
Yeah.
Let me start with this. Only USA cares about the profiling? No, because in Europe, in European universities, there is much more importance for the CV or resume, and trust me, it doesn't look good empty. So one very, very good way to fill in the resume and CV, other than internships, is the profile. So is the passion project, is the leadership positions that you had, sports, and so on. Let me go for another one. Okay. So my daughter is in grade 8. Is it too early to start thinking about her college application? And then I would like to relate this to another question, linking to someone saying that I'm really confused about what I want to study at college. So how do I do passion project? Does it have to be relevant to my future subject? And let me tell you, no, grade 8 isn't early at all. The earlier, always the better. This is like the rule of thumb, is that the earlier you started, the better you're able to explore more options, to build momentum. And like if you stick to one project, you can build it big, you can scale it up, you can build more depth to this project. And relating to the confusion and college major, and this is one of the things that I really, really appreciate in college counseling, especially with Ascend, is that like doing a university list is like tough. It needs effort, it needs time, it needs guidance. The application process is tough, needs guidance, so on. But there's like the holistic part of knowing yourself, right? So knowing what things you want to pursue, and this is one of the main things that our mentors help you do. Because if you're confused, this is even more better reason to seek a passion project. Because only in experimenting, like Hiro said, with stuff, you're able to identify areas of interest and areas of disinterest. So you're able to identify some areas that you've never thought about before. And this helps you in further narrowing down your interest, your focus, your college, like desired college and desired major, but also makes you know yourself more, which again, everything you know more about yourself reflects very clearly in the essay. Kiro, do you want to answer any of the questions? I'm just scrolling down to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here a question says that is it better to do one long passion project or a few smaller projects? Personally, I would go for a few smaller projects because that will have a chance to show many of your characteristics and traits. One project could just reflect one characteristic of you, that is per se leadership. However, if you have done smaller, quicker, and smarter projects, that would reflect more of your character, and you want to show that. So it's as if, again, I would like to quote the Beautiful Mind movie and the example of Professor John Nash. It's as if you are getting to a relationship with the significant other, and you want to show him all of your abilities. Think of that as your profiling to the college admission.
Okay, very, very, very good. Let me answer a couple of more questions. So, what activities stand out the most for Ivy League? So, there are a few ones I think we covered almost all of them, but let me say them again. So the first one is leadership, of course. So leadership in meaningful activities. You're doing leadership roles. You found a community service. You led an editorial team. You served as a captain on your athletic team. Everything that demonstrates leadership position. The second thing is significant research work, and I know, like, I teach research writing, and I know that it's one of the most tedious words I think ever created. But trust me, it isn't as tedious as it sounds, because research work does show a lot, like a million skills. Think of it this way: anything that you're interested in learning, it doesn't have to, like, oh, I'm just reading numbers, statistics, and graphs, and I need to be reporting them as such. Our students have done research in like very, very creative ways. I remember one of our students, Harish, like, he did this paper about choosing natural colors in a sustainable way to substitute acrylic colors. Think of, like, the amount of creativity and colors and fun and experiments that he did to come up with a brilliant idea that he further, like, later on published. The third thing is entrepreneurial ventures. And this is, again, why entrepreneurship program is very interested. Entrepreneurial ideas and projects are also very interesting. So launching a startup, trying to solve a real world problem, interacting with the world. Because also, other than showing the commitment, dedication, and so on, it shows skills that are insanely precious in the job market, like research skills. Because in order to do an app, in order to do a project, you need to do some research, like interact with the problem and think out of the box and create something that no one ever did. The last thing, of course, is passion projects, and this is it could encompass everything, but the idea here is that anything of interest for you, of passion for you, that you did for a long while, for a considerable while. So not only that you just started learning music for like 3 months or 6 months, not that you're did like whatever. So whatever hobby it is, it could be like you're creating a podcast. It's also one of the very common projects that, again, show some very important skills. I think there's a question for you here, Kiro.
Yeah, I would like to answer this question that popped up now. It says that my daughter is in grade 8. Is it too early to start thinking about her college applications? Absolutely not, because first of all, time flies. If you're in grade 8, tomorrow you will be in year 12, and surprisingly, IB exams will be visiting you soon. So it's not late at all. That's the first answer. The second answer is you don't want to sound like you're a one season wonder. Many football players, they are just a one season wonder, as in they perform really well in one season. However, you want to show consistency in performing well. So starting too early is a really good sign that your characteristics and your traits are actually discovered from a really young age. So it's not too early. And yeah, the sooner, definitely the better.
Let me answer also. Oh, sorry, Kiro, are you finished?
Yeah, you know, I mean, there was just a following up question that says, how can I help my child find their passion? And Michelle, I think you can also tackle that. He doesn't have any interests and doesn't know what he wants to do at university. So first of all, I believe that we all do have interests. Perhaps it's not yet discovered. And actually, the little things that we do in our dailies, they might show some glimpses of some interests. So let's say he stays in the kitchen for a little while, then perhaps he's interested in cooking. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, as in you don't have to have an interest in space ships or space rockets, something that's really screaming. However, it might be something that's really, really simple, and it could have a lasting impact. So first of all, I would ask the child to type in his dreams before getting into sleep, and always have a journal. And you yourself as a parent, I would advise that you take notes of your child. What does he spend his time most on? And then have a mentor or tutor that sits with him, because they will be able to brainstorm together. They will be able to delve into activities, whether that's in sports, whether that's in science, whether that's in TV shows. And out of that, we can bring on ideas. Michelle, if you want to add on to that question.
No, yeah, I'm taking it to again relating it to another question. Where can I find such a coach mentor to guide me, and how that work? What would the steps be? And this in reference to your question, like your point about seeking guidance, and also what we do at Ascend now. What I referred to earlier is like it really needs to be a holistic process. So it starts with the bonding with the child, knowing them, understanding their interests, their goals, their aspirations, their characters, their personalities. What did they do before and really enjoyed, and what they absolutely didn't enjoy. And then it depends on the timeline, because that also ties in with another question. If it's really early on, we can collaboratively design a roadmap for the upcoming year, upcoming 2 years, up until the day of college applications. And in this roadmap, we can tuck in multiple projects. We can tie in different projects, papers, ideas, publishing, podcast making, all of these things that will help both enrich the college profile, will build up to the college application, and also help the child have fun. Probably, I think it will be the most important thing, and will help them continue doing it. And throughout the process, it will make their interests and it will make their decision regarding their college major much clearer, much more clear. And this is very important. And then, of course, at the point, like before the phase of college application, we set a deadline to end all projects, all passion projects that should be done and well documented before applying. And then starting from here, we start guiding them through the application, through the essays. We have wonderful essay mentors in helping the kids craft their own voice. Because think of it this way, how similar kids at the same age write similarly. They need to have a good story to write in the essay. They need to have a really fine balance between presenting accomplishment and character, but also not too cliche and not too metaphorical and not too poetic, so that it's still formal and still professional, but also has their personal tone in it. And then, of course, we guide them in the application process, in the essay submission. We set the deadlines. We monitor very closely up until the end, and then they get to the college admission and they get accepted. I think that might be it. Maybe one last question about the difference between research assignments at school and research paper outside of school as a passion project. I'd say that the students, when they do have the freedom, when they do have the space to choose their own topic, to do it in the way that they think fit, to search through like academic papers, know how to reference them properly, know how to do a literature review, know how to do a critical analysis of a paper. All of these things is just not like any essay or any paper at school. It really ties in the thing that the students are interested in the most. This is why we have an insanely interesting variety of topics presented by our students, because they do really have the freedom and the capacity to research whatever they know, whatever they want to know. And this is what keeps them going throughout the process, because it's something of real interest to them.
And also, Michelle, if I would add, it's really difficult if you wrote a compelling research paper with your school. It might be difficult to publish it. However, we can help you publish your research paper with a really well-rounded journal that's called the Lens. It's an international journal that you can apply to, and we can help you write your research paper upon the criteria that the selection is based on. And that's something that's significantly different from just writing a research paper and writing a research paper and publishing it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else, Kiro?
So there's just one last question that I would love to answer.
We've been saying one last question for the
Yeah.
previous 5 questions, I think. Go ahead.
So the question says that where can I find such a coach, a mentor to guide me, and how would that work? What would the steps be?
Yes, this is what I this is what I
Yes.
just told. Do you want to build up
Yes.
add more things?
Yeah, so first of all, you can visit our website and book an info session with one of our coach and mentors. They will absolutely guide you, and you'll have your first demo session where you can brainstorm with them all possible projects. And then after you brainstorm your projects, we'll do a detailed plan for your project and how many sessions will you be able to accomplish your projects in. And after that, you can also have a mentorship session with one of our counselors who will be guiding you holistically in the process. So Michel per se is a college counselor, and he guided many students. And you can book an info session with either Michel or I, and we'll stay in touch with you and we'll help you through this journey. I mean, you don't have to go through this process alone. We're here to help you, and it's always better to work together. So stay in touch with us at our website, and feel free. We'll type in our emails in the chat if you would love to stay in touch. And yeah, absolutely, it would be a pleasure to be working with you. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, and to the best of our ability, we've selected the questions that aren't answered in our slides. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us your questions, and surely we'll be answering your inquiries.
Thank you, everyone. It was such a pleasure. Please, if you have any questions, reach out. Yeah, and that would be it. Okay. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks,
Thank you,
Kiro.
Ethan. Thanks, Michelle.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate the help today. That's been awesome. I think we didn't quite get to the questions as you guys said, but that was really good, and I really appreciate the time. So till next time, we appreciate it, boys. Thank you so much.
Till next time. You're welcome. Bye bye.